Ryder Cup is on the horizon. Good time as any to talk about golf. The European Ryder Cup team is complete. Shane Lowry, John Ram, Sepp Straka, Ludwig Aberg, Victor Hovland and Matt Fitzpatrick are Luke Donald's captain's picks. They'll join McIlroy, McIntyre, Fleetwood, Rose, Højgaard and Tyrrell Hatton to complete the 12-man Europe team. Now that means 11 of the 12 from Rome tee off at Bethpage. The only change sees Højgaard, who qualified automatically, replace his brother Nikolai. Rupert Bell, TalkSports golf correspondent, joined Simon and myself live in the show this morning. Rupert, good morning. Consistency, repetition, is that the formula for success when it comes to Team Europe at this Ryder Cup?
I don't think Luke Donald had any other option but to pick more or less the same team. Once Rasmus Højgaard played himself into the lineup recently at the British Masters, coming as one of the automatic selections, I think Luke Donald, knowing what Bethpage is going to be like, went for a whole load of experience. And of course, Ludwig Aberg, we think, came into Italy just 3 months into his professional career, but he's now a multi-time winner and is impressed. Matt Fitzpatrick, I suppose, might have been people's one weak link, but his form of late has seen him rise from 85 in the world early part of this year to now inside the top 30. So, in fact, you look at it, it's a very, I think, sensible. I think Luke Donald probably found it quite an easy thing to do. Maybe Sepp Straka, whose form has tailed off a bit, and he's also been missing tournaments for private matters. But he is sure, Luke Donald that is, that Sepp Straka will turn up in fine form at the end of the month.
I mean, on average, Simon, Europe make 5 in each 2-year cycle. Luke Donald has obviously considered, well, it's better the devil you know.
Sure, for the reasons that Rupert's laid out. I mean, the interesting thing is what difference it will make performing in America against the Americans in a situation where they seem to be, you know, with the exception of Medina, comparatively unsuccessful. I mean, obviously the narrative has changed in America about Keegan Bradley and the fact that he was going to be a playing captain. Now he's not. I mean, are we still in the situation, Rupert? I assume we are. Nothing's really changed. The Americans are massive favourites, tipped to do what they normally do. Can you see that being challenged and pushed hard by the Europeans?
I can. I genuinely do. But it's how they can deal with what will be a bear pit of an atmosphere, which has been stoked up by Bryson DeChambeau, by some of his comments recently, that he is basically wanting them to make it really tough for the European players. But they are all used, bar Rasmus Højgaard, of playing regularly in front of American crowds. And I think that's another reason why Luke Donald has gone with what he knows. These players, you know, you've got Matt Fitzpatrick, as I say, coming in a US Open winner. Sepp Straka's won many times. So they've done well but in a team environment, it's a whole new level. And obviously, Whistling Straits, when they played 4 years ago, that was with no European fans at all. But this time, of course, there will be some, those that can afford to go, to cheer on, but they will be heavily outnumbered against a very vociferous New York crowd. But I think the players are relishing the challenge. And with Luke Donald, you have a very steady hand on the tiller. And I think that's the important aspect for the Europeans, that they don't get sidetracked and allow it to sort of intimidate them, and they let their golf do the talking. And that will be the key message, I'm sure, that Donald and his vice captains will be imparting on his team at the end of the month.
Of course, a man of your means, Rupert Bell, could easily afford to go, but TalkSport are sending you anyway, which is good news for you.
Well, it is, and I'm absolutely delighted to be going.
Of course.
And I look forward to Ryder Cup weeks probably more than any. But with Medina, I was lucky enough to be there, which you just never expected to happen. But the important thing there, Luke Donald was part of the revival of that team on the Saturday night, where they came out. And I remember talking to Luke Donald on that Saturday saying, we're not out of this. And they were trailing 10-6. So he gave the team a heartbeat, so he can bring lots of experience of what it's like to be sort of possibly on the drubbing that they could have faced, got the team going, and were able to pull off this miraculous moment in Medina. And hopefully they can do something
Rupert,
similar.
how many of the team now were present in the last Ryder Cup in America?
Rory McIlroy would have been. That's a very good question, a trick question.
Sorry to put you on the
but
spot. I'm just trying to work out what they would be used to in terms of temperature and exposure, and given they're going to go into a bear pit as you describe it.
Well, Rory McIlroy, there aren't many. Just looking through, I think it might just be Rory.
Right.
Thinking off the top of my head.
I mean, Simon's got a good point, though, Rupert. In the years you've covered events like this, what are they going into? Is it truly a bear pit?
Oh, this will be, I've been to American Ryder Cups, but I've seen Europe win there twice, in fact. But I would have to say the New York crowd will be more vociferous, more possibly ugly than any crowd that they will have played against. But many would have played Bethpage, and Rory McIlroy. Remember, that was the famous moment that his timekeeping went awry and had to be police. There was a police escort to get him to the tea time on that Sunday morning because he overslept or whatever was going on. I have no idea, but anyway, he was very late getting to the course. So, but Rory McIlroy was part of that team. So I hope I've got it right there, Simon. But you're right; it is such a unique occasion, and that's why it's very hard for the
it sure is, and the Americans will do everything they can to turn up the noise because the president no less is going to show up. Luke Donald is saying we're all expecting the crowds and the energy and the environment to be very loud, very spirited, and of course the president will add to that. It shows how big the Ryder Cup is that the president of the US would want to come and grace us with his presence. They're pulling out all the stops, Rupert, aren't they?
Yeah, I just love the fact if Europe managed to win when he's there and we win a session 4-0, that would just be fantastic.
You chip in and Trump standing there,
but he's a golf fan. President, I think George Bush has turned up to Ryder Cups before, so it's not a surprise. But obviously, when he's in town, I'm sure for the organisers, it's a security headache. That they don't need, but he is a golf fan. He, of course, he famously had that Bryson DeChambeau and Donald Trump had that YouTube thing they did together. So, he knows many of the team. And I think Keegan Bradley, by saying, right, I am not going to play, actually means that he can get his team to say, look, I should have been in this team. You've got to play for me. Yeah. So I think that's the best thing that he can say to his team is, look, I should be one of the 12. I desperately wanted to be one of the 12, but I've sacrificed for the good of the team. Now, my 12, you now sacrifice and put your game on the line and make sure we win and regain the cup.
Rupert, thank you very much. Rupert Bell, TalkSport's golf correspondent, heading out to the Ryder Cup, of course, very soon. Be interesting if Trump was playing. He enjoys a preferred lie, I notice.
Well, Trump, if the Europeans were doing quite well, will steer back into his Scottish heritage, won't he, about how his mother was Scottish?
That's right.
I'm sure us Europeans can stand up to a bunch of chubby, plaid-wearing blowhards in New York.
There you go, quite right. Let's go out there. You can stand there with the Union Jack at the side of the 6th screen, make a lot of noise. It's 11:30 this Tuesday morning.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.